Now, if you've been watching the channel, then some of you might know that I am a huge fan of The Last of Us. In fact, I played The Last of Us on the PlayStation 3 probably more than a dozen times. At least a dozen times, okay? And I played it again most recently after probably about 7 or 8 years of not playing it. I played it again. I played the remastered version. Let's not talk about the freaking remake. I'm not even gonna bother with that. Like, I don't approve of what they did with the remake. So yeah, let's just keep it to the original and the remaster, which is a pretty good remaster, I would say. So thinking back to my time with The Last of Us, I always enjoyed the atmosphere, the interactions between Ellie and Joel, which is really the heart of the game when you think about it, with Ellie going on to eventually becoming the, I guess you could say, daughter figure for Joel.
He tried to...
Oh, baby girl. It's okay. It's okay.
Joel.
Seeing as how he lost his daughter, his real daughter, at the beginning of the game, at the beginning of the pandemic. It's just a very rough ride. It's a gory and very emotional story. There are certain scenes that every single time I play it, even the last time that I played it, just do not fail to bring at least a single tear to my eye, you know. But in talking about the HBO show, when I first heard about it and I saw the trailer, I wasn't super excited. I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of Hollywood, so whenever I hear Hollywood is working on something, I kind of just raise my eyebrow and don't really care that much, because I'm just not a fan of what they do now. It's not like before where, you know, I would hear that a big Hollywood studio is working on a comic book or a manga or a video game that I'm super interested in, and I get super excited for it. It's not like that anymore. Nowadays, if anything, it just upsets me when I hear that Hollywood is going to be touching something that I am, you know, fond of. With The Last of Us, HBO, the trailer, it was mostly the same thing. I wasn't super excited for it, but I thought it looked okay. The initial trailer, I thought it looked okay. It wasn't horrible, even though there were a few things in it that I thought were stupid, like the race swapping. There was no, I don't care what anybody says, there is no reason to swap people's races. Why would you do that? This might seem like a weird example, but let's say they make a adaptation of The Racketeer by John Grisham. It's one of my favorite books. The Racketeer features a black main character. Now, if they were to make like an adaptation of that book and make the main character white, I would be reacting the exact same way. Like, it does not make any sense. So going into the actual show, I remember the intro being pretty interesting. I do think that the first episode at least did a few things better than the game, like their explanation of the virus and how the military dealt with it. I like the scene in the autopsy room. I like the scene with the medical person. I forget what her profession is.
Are you stupid or something?
Where they took her to the lab to find out what the hell was going on with this virus, right? She goes on to say, hey, you know, this virus it's gonna fuck the whole world up. We can't do anything about it. Your best option is gonna be to just nuke the fuck out of every single city.
Harus kami lakukan. Bom. Bom seluruh kota. Dan seluruh orang yang ada di dalamnya.
You one crazy ass bitch.
You know, she didn't say it like that, but that's basically the gist of what she said. I thought that added a lot to the tension, you know, that the game didn't have, just in that, you know, aspect of the story. While adding a few interesting things as well, like the grandma scene where her face starts contorting and you can tell that she's turning into one of the runners. They added a few interesting things. The first episode, for the most part, was beat for beat the same story points from the game. down to the dialogue, especially toward the end of the episode. Fast forward about 20 years. What's her face? What's her fucking name again? Marlene. Yeah, that's her name. Played the game over a dozen times and I don't remember one of the main characters' names. It's Marlene, which interestingly enough, she's also played by the same actress who plays Marlene in the game. So that's a fun fact. And along with Marlene, we meet Ellie, at least in the show. And this is one of the problems I have with the show is the casting choices. Yeah, the race swapping is fucked up, but then you have someone like Ellie who is played by I forgot her name.
HBO Max, say hello to Bella Ramsey.
So it's whatever. Anyway, she's played by someone who just, and I want to be nice about this. I'll just say she does not look the part in any way, shape, or form at all. Like, it does not make sense to have someone like her play Ellie at all. Like, damn, just put some fucking makeup on Ellen Page. I ain't gonna fucking call her Elliot. Put some makeup on Ellen Page and have her play the role. I guess you can de-age her because everybody knows Ellie was based on Ellen Page's appearance. And aside from just not looking the part, Ellie in the TV show just does not feel like Ellie from the game. Ellie in the TV show seems like a psychotic bitch, like an unhinged psycho bitch. That's exactly what she seems like. I remember a scene where she's just staring at a knife, or was it a gun? Either way, but she's staring at it like she wants to fuck it. Like, it's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. And the actress who plays Ellie in the TV show, her face does not do her any favors in those kind of scenes. Like, I don't remember any scene from the game where Ellie was eye fucking a gun or trying to undress a knife with her eyes. I don't remember anything like that from the games where she was just enamored with murder. And that's what it seems like Ellie from the TV show was built. I guess what they were trying to do was trying to build toward, you know, her revenge, her violent psychopathy or whatever from the second game, which I have not played and I will not play. But I know that she's a psycho bitch in the second game. So they're probably making those scenes from the TV show to try to build towards that. See? To try to tell us, like, see, Ellie was always a crazy bitch. Then we get to the third episode. And we all know what happened with that. It was a completely unnecessary and in parts even completely disgusting episode. Because there were some sections where there was just hairy man ass. You know, hairy fuck, like, I wanted to fucking puke, dude. And that's just from the clips that I saw from other YouTubers who played it. Like, I physically cannot even look at scenes like that. So I completely just skipped through those the sex scenes, basically. I watched pretty much the entire episode except the sex scenes. I cannot watch two guys going at it like that. I cannot see that. I would much rather watch than ever watch some crap like that, some nasty shit like that. And it's not that I'm against it. It's like, I don't care if two dudes want to do that, but I don't want to see it in my fucking video game adaptation of a game where that does not even happen. So they just added it to the TV show just for wokeness points, basically, and that's the only reason. That episode basically is focused on a character that in the game you only ever see as a corpse for like, what, less than a minute? In the game, Frank is basically, he's definitely not important enough to dedicate an entire hour of runtime. That's time that could have been better spent developing the relationship between Ellie and Joel. But I have to give credit where it's due. The acting was fine, you know. It wasn't the best thing ever. There were, you know, like some people are trying to say, there are some episodes of The Walking Dead which were which, by the way, I just started watching The Walking Dead a few weeks ago. I also dropped The Walking Dead in the 6th season. There were some episodes in The Walking Dead, like the Eastman episode, which were way better in every way than the fucking gay episode from The Last of Us. But anyway, moving on. Moving on to the next episodes, we're introduced to a strange character, a fat chick. A fat chick, and she's the leader of this resistance group. And I don't know how that happened, because she is not in the least bit intimidating at all. Like, it doesn't make sense for anyone to follow her, and it doesn't make sense for her and her high-pitched, squealy mom voice to, be running the show in this post-apocalyptic setting. I don't know. She just does not come across as believable. She comes across as a school teacher who is playing the role of a badass, but she's not doing it that well. As far as the Henry and Sam episode goes, I thought it was pretty good, to be honest. I thought it was really good. Way better than the fucking gay episode, that's for sure. At least the Henry Sam episode, while a lot of it was, filler stuff that didn't happen in the game, it still felt proper. It still felt like it belonged, because these were two very important characters. I thought it was needless, though, how they made Sam deaf. And they gave him fucking cancer, too. It's like, what the fuck? Why? Like, really? You give him cancer, and then you make him deaf, and then you make him get infected? Damn. It's like the writers really hated the Sam character, huh? And I think that's about it. I think the last episode I saw was the one where the bloater came out and obliterated everyone. I think that's it. I do believe it is. Even though I was watching them week to week as they came out, around this point, around the time that I saw the preview for the next episode, which was the one where Joel and Ellie get to Tommy's place, when I saw the preview for that and the whole communism bit, and oh yeah, how they changed Maria. It's like, what the fuck? What in the fuck was that? God damn, dude. Listen, I'm a black dude. Okay, so like, take it from me, that was fucked up. It's like, why? What's the point? Why would you race swap Maria as well? It makes no sense to me to do things like this unless you're just trying to destroy the original work. I mean, arguably, Neil Druckmann already destroyed The Last of Us when he took over. When he added the whole DLC thing with Ellie and Riley. And oh yeah, one thing about that is if you play the main game, at the very end of the game, Ellie, when talking about Riley to Joel, refers to Riley as her best friend.
My best friend was there, and she got bit too.
Her best friend. Not her girlfriend, not her lover, not anything like that, but her best friend. Okay, that got retconned, essentially. Neil Druckmann's stupid ass retconned that in the DLC to make them lovers or whatever. By the way, I finally got around to playing the Left Behind DLC like a month ago. Yeah, you're not missing much. Yeah, I don't feel like I gained anything from playing that. It had a couple decent gameplay sections, but, that was obvious. The gameplay was really good in the original Last of Us. Some people say it's not. Personally, I think it's really good. And I think the stealth was also really good. That was one of the things I really enjoyed about sneaking through, past all the clickers and runners and bloaters in the last flooded subway section right before you get to the hospital. That was fucking killer. But anyway, in the DLC, in the Left Behind DLC, it felt like the worst parts of The Last of Us, where it's all just freaking Lori and her soap opera bullshit. That's pretty much all that the Left Behind DLC is. It's just soap opera crap. It's not interesting. You don't really feel anything between Ellie and Riley. And I'm pretty sure it's the same thing for the episode, the HBO episode version of the Left Behind DLC, which I don't know what the fuck they dedicated an entire episode to that shit for. I didn't watch it. I had stopped watching before that, but it's pretty obvious that they did because one of the episodes is titled Left Behind. So what else would that be about, right? So I stopped watching The Last of Us HBO simply because I lost interest, which is strange because The Last of Us is one of my favorite games of all time. So like, if you actually manage to make me lose interest in a TV show adaptation of one of my favorite video game stories ever, then you fucked up. You fucked up majorly. I don't know if I'll ever really finish the series. I just don't care, I can just play the game. I just do not care about this series. They added too much woke bullshit. They race swapped too many characters for no reason. It's unwatchable to me at this point. And done. Don't forget to hit the like and sub.